Hey, my friend Kenny here. I want to ask you a quick question today. How good were you at math? Okay, you don't have to answer that. I'll just lead with I wasn't super great at math. And then once I started learning how to read financial statements and income statements and balance sheet, I started liking math a little bit more, right? Here's what I want you to think about today. I want you to think about subtraction for multiplication. And I also would encourage you to go back and listen to or re-listen to, if you've already listened to, an episode of my podcast, Leadership in a Nutshell is a podcast that I have. You can find it at leadershipinanutshell.com. And I recorded episode 57 on this concept. And so in a different way, in a different time, that title was Subtract, Add, Multiply. So leadershipinanutshell.com, episode 57, and you can hear me talk about this in a different way. But today I want to connect with you from a different perspective. And I want you to just take a moment and think about your life situation, your business situation, and how much you add to your plate, if you will. How often do you add, without subtracting? So I'm in this world to elevate my consciousness, to learn more about the life experience, to be happy, to be fulfilled, to enjoy my life experience, my business experience, which are all intertwined, the relationships I have, the different things that the universal education system gets to teach me, right? The primary education and the secondary education system and the one semester of what they call higher education that I took in college, that didn't do so hot on educating me. I learned how to read, write, and relate to people, but now the biggest education system to me is the universe education system. And one of the things that I like to do is multiply. And that's why I read a lot. I read audiobooks. I listen to audiobooks. I read actual books. I listen to a lot more than I read, physically read. But I like information because it gives me an opportunity to multiply the results that I desire in my life. And so we have this feeling, though, that I only multiply by adding, and if I just continue to grow and add things to my plate and be more and do more, then I'll have more, and all those different types of things. And I say we flip that upside down and we decide what we want to have in our life, and then we realize that we get to do certain things in order to be the person that has those types of things. And when I say have, I mean not tangibly, not physically, I mean emotionally, I mean feelings. And what I want you to think today is about your own task list, perhaps, your own schedule, and where have you continued to just add. I want to call this one word today, my friend, because there's a collective agreement in society, and very much so in the business world as well, that the more that I add, the more successful I become. Have you heard that? Have you believed that? Let me look at like the memoji in your text messaging. Have you heard that? I don't buy that. And I used to buy it. I used to spend a lot of money on buying that. The more I add, the busier I am, the more things that I do, the more work that I accomplish, the more I get done. That was ego-seeking validation, my friend. And I call that one word today for you: insanity. And I'm going to ask you to challenge yourself today to maybe stop that insanity a little bit, or at least challenge that insanity a little bit. Why? Because you're here to be happy. You're here to be fulfilled. You're here to evolve into the person that you're meant to be. And you're perfect exactly how you are because you're right where you're supposed to be in your own walk. And as you do that, there's a collective agreement in society, like I said, that says I need to do more. There's multi-billion-dollar industries that are telling me all of the things that I need to add to my plate, all of the software I don't have that I need, all of the cars that I have that I don't have that I need, right? All the food products I don't have that I need, all of the fill in the blank, clothes, shoes, anything and everything. Turn on the TV, turn on social media, you will get barraged, right? By tons and tons of things reminding you of what you need to add to your life. I'm here for happiness and fulfillment, and my life's mission now is to help you elevate your consciousness so you find more of that yourself. And I'm going to tell you right now, one of the easiest ways to find happiness is to simplify, is to subtract some of the chaos from your life, to look at your to-do list and reevaluate it. I want you to turn your to-do list into a stop doing list. What are some things that you're doing right now that simply don't make sense? And yes, they might have made sense before. Where do I need to implement some time protection for my sanity protection, right? I've said for years there's no such thing as time management. There's only human behavior management. And so however you manage your human behavior, and I believe in calendars, I believe in to-do lists and structure, but I believe as much or more in the stop doing list, in the don't do list. It's like, when you think about different nations or international security, and we have don't fly zones, right? Like, nope, nobody can have external aircraft get into that. I have don't fly zones in my life. I have don't fly zones in my relationship. Put that in air quotes, don't fly zones. But I think about it. I have a don't fly zone for the first 60 to 90 minutes of my day for my own personal ritual, where I do my meditating, I do my reading or listening to positive information. I do some form of movement, working out, yoga, stretching, something, hiking, whatever that is. I make sure that I journal and get my mental download. I make sure that I set my mental intention for the day. Whatever that is, I protect that time. That is a do not fly zone. Nobody on my team can schedule a meeting during that time. The lovely Christy knows that that's my own personal time because that's where I get better. And that was challenging for me to implement, my friend, because I was in a stuck addiction of adding to my life. See, one of the biggest addictions in the world is our addiction to suffering. And we continue to perpetuate suffering by doing things the way that the world tells us we should do them. So where do you need to challenge your stop doing list? Where do you need to challenge your shoulds of what people think you should be doing, what the world says you should be doing, and put the world in air quotes, meaning social media, meaning traditional TV, meaning how you spend your time? Because I'm fascinated when people tell me that they don't have the time for self-care, they don't have the time to work out, they don't have the time to journal, they don't have the time to meditate, but they've got the time for Yellowstone on Netflix. They've got the time to watch the entire new series of Ozark or whatever it is that's popular at the time that you're watching this video. People eat up that stuff and they make time for it. Why? Because it's important. And we add. I'm asking you what to subtract from your life. If you get value from Yellowstone, keep watching Yellowstone, but just understand that it's taken a time of your life. And so is there something that you need to subtract in order to get that done? We live in this thing of like the world where, I've got to keep on doing. I want you to realize less is more. And the less that you do, the more quality and attention that you can give it. The less you do, the more energy that you can have. You can become more efficient with your time, the passion projects that you have. I want to ask you this. How do you know when you're winning? What does it feel like for you to win? You know. Don't let your subconscious or your ego jump in there and try and answer that question. I want it from your gut. I want it from your soul. How do you know when you're winning? Because let me remind you, my friend, we're taught, especially in the business world, it's one of the reasons that I've taken this angle for my life now, where I'm going to speak truth to you. And I always have spoken truth from the best of my knowledge, from the best of my ability where I was. But now that I've had the opportunity to accomplish certain things and build some successful companies and be around a lot of people and, mind you, make a ton of what the world would call mistakes, I call them life experiences that didn't work out the way I intended. But one of my recent videos where I talked about opportunities, that was how opportunities showed up for me. And so I want your gut answer of, how do you know when you're winning? And it used to be that you would say, well, when I have X amount in the bank, when I had X amount in sales, when I have X amount of team members or trucks on the road or whatever it is for you. What I want to remind you of today, my friend, all of those things simply give you a feeling. And it's really the feeling that you desire for when you have X amount in the bank. It's the feeling of a supposed security. It's a feeling of success if I have X amount of team members. It's a feeling that I've made it if I have X amount of sales. So at the end of the day, if we're all just seeking a feeling anyway, why don't you decide what it feels like to win? What your version of success, not all the Instagram ads and the stories that you get on social media and the nonstop commercials that run and try to get your attention. What does it work for you? What does it mean to you? How do you come up and win? Ultimately, are you enjoying? Are you feeling fulfilled? Are you happy? That is the ultimate question. Until we talk, my friend, subtract some things and watch the multiplication take place for your happiness, your healthiness, your wealth, and ultimately your fulfillment. Until we talk, make it a better than fantastic week. I'll see you real soon.
Thank you for watching this video and subscribing. Do us a favor, comment below and tell us what your thoughts are and what your takeaways are. Remember, you're either winning or you're learning.